Good morning. For today's lab, you are going to be making the dough for alternate sugar oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips. Equipment you will need is a bowl, your measuring spoons, a flat spatula, your measuring cups, and introducing today, we are going to be using the electric mixer with the batter paddle. Okay, so it looks like a triangle. Here is the electric mixer. Just want to quickly go over it. So your electric mixer looks something like this. And on one side, it has a lock and unlock button. If you unlock it, the top goes up and down. When mixing, it should be in the lock position so that it can't wobble, so I can't lift it up. On the other side is the speed button, and the higher the number, the higher the speed. When you are attaching your paddle, this might be a little difficult. Okay, when you are attaching your paddle, you will see that there is a knob here, and there is a kind of a keyhole on the paddle. So you're going to line up the keyhole with that knob and slide it on so that it fits over the knob. Then you're going to press in so that you're compressing the spring that's there, and then turn the paddle until it locks into place. To place your bowl on, you're going to slide your bowl in, and it kind of fits into screw grooves that are in the base here. You'll see these kind of like little bumps. I'm going to place it into those grooves and then just give it a half turn, and that's now locked into place. Okay. So I'm going to put that over to the side for right now. To start, we are going to measure our dry ingredients into a large bowl. For today's lab, the ingredients will be quick oats, not old-fashioned, quick oats, so they cook a little faster and they puff up a little easier. Instead of white flour, we are using wheat flour today, so that means that the whole kernel is ground up and in here, as opposed to the wheat and the germ being separated from each other. It's the whole plant is in there, and it is more healthy for you. Processed flour, when you pull the wheat and the germ apart from each other, you're actually losing a bit of nutrients, and then they bleach it, and there's a lot of things involved. So oats, wheat flour. The other dry ingredients are salt and baking powder, because it needs to self-react. We'll talk about that more in a later chapter. Cinnamon. I think that's it for dry ingredients. And then you have our sweeteners, our two sweeteners. Instead of using sugar, white processed sugar like we normally do, you're going to use applesauce and honey. Both the applesauce and the honey will be measured for you. You will need a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 egg. Oh, and I just broke my egg. Whoops. Let me get a bowl. Vanilla and chocolate chips, which will also be measured out for you. Okay, let's get started. Make some space. Wipe up the egg I just spilled. Okay. So in our large bowl, you are going to mix 1 1/4 cups of 1 1/4 cup of oats, 1 So just like you measure everything else, you're going to put it in the measuring cup and then level off. So that's 1 1/4 of that. Then you are going to measure out 1 cup of flour, and we're doing the flour the same way you do regular white processed flour, where I'm sprinkling it in. Now, whole wheat flour is a little denser. It's not as, it's fluffy, but it's not as fluffy. So you won't see it create as many air bubbles, but still you're going to shake it in the cup so you still are incorporating air, level off, and place into your bowl. Then it is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon one and 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 1 1/2 teaspoons and 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. You're going to give this a gentle stir just to get everything nice and incorporated in. Now we are going to move over to our electric mixer. And you could have done this right into your mixer bowl as well if you'd prefer to do that. One less thing to wipe out. Now for this bowl, no wet ingredients have touched it, so you can just give it a very good wipe. Unless something's really stuck to it, you don't need to wash it with soap and water. One ingredient I forgot, because it was in the microwave, is butter, which will also be measured out for you. You are going to melt it and then let it cool again, because we don't want it to cook that egg, right? In this mixture, in this dry mixture that is in the bowl, you are now going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Next, we're going to add applesauce. You will need a rubber spatula as well. So you're going to add in your applesauce, using the rubber spatula to scrape out all of the applesauce from the container. You will put this into your soapy sink basin, and then you're going to add your honey. Again, you'll need your rubber spatula to really scrape out all the sides. Get as much as you can in there, because these are the two things that are adding sweetness to your mix. Now, when scraping off the sides of your rubber spatula, I recommend scraping it off on the paddle as opposed to the sides, because if you scrape it on the sides, it's not getting into the mix. Place that in your sink to be washed. At this point, let me get that out. You're going to add your egg. So basically we just mixed all the dry ingredients and now we are mixing the wet. Now I have not added my butter yet or my chocolate chips. So the last two ingredients that we still need to add. But before we add those, I put my lid down, locked my mixer, and I'm going to mix it on slow to start. You always start on slow because if you were to go right to high, all that flour and those dry ingredients are going to puff back in your face. So you're going to mix it for about, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. Then you can bump it up. While it is mixing, you are going to slowly add your butter. So just kind of letting it drizzle it down the side. This gives it a little bit of time to cool too. And now we are going to mix for 1 minute. After about a minute, you're going to turn your mixer off, unlock it so you can lift your lid, and then take your rubber spatula and scrape down the sides so you can get everything that's kind of underneath, around. Scrape off your spatula. And at this point, you're going to add your chocolate chips in. And you're going to go to 2 this time because we don't want to crush up those chocolate chips. We want them whole. And you're going to continue to mix for about another minute. After that minute is finished, you're going to unlock your machine and you are going to remove your paddle. To remove the paddle, it's just the opposite of what we did before. You're going to push up to start, push up, turn the paddle, and then pull off. And you're going to take your rubber spatula and you're going to scrape off your paddle of all the dough. It's on there. Okay. And you're going to place that in the sink to be washed. Then you are going to unlock your bowl. Move your mixer to the side. And then you're going to take your rubber spatula and scrape your batter. Make sure everything's nice and folded and incorporated. So I'm working around the sides, scraping the sides and bringing it into the center. That's called a fold mix. So I'm scraping around the sides and pulling up. You're then going to lay a piece of saran wrap on your table. And you are going to place your mixture onto the saran wrap. It's very sticky, so I recommend just using the spatula and not your hands. Because of the honey, it gets very, very sticky. That's why the next step is very important to making good fluffy cookies as opposed to kind of flat melted cookies. I know there's raw egg in there, but I'm going to taste it anyway. Very good. You're going to take your saran wrap and you're just going to kind of saran wrap up your dough, seal in the sides. Then you're going to place it in a plastic bag that is labeled with your name. And we are going to refrigerate this until next class because that helps kind of join the It helps, one, reconceal the butter, and it helps kind of harden the honey a little bit so that it makes a better cookie than it just kind of spreading out when it's in the oven. And that is our lab for today. Make sure to clean your dishes to the best of your ability, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.